What's up, YouTube? So we are going to, at the very least, do a pen, which is currently winning in my poll of what do you all want to see next. This is my big book of pen projects. They're all not necessarily pens, but everything is turned the same way, using similar a similar style, setup, design, discipline, whatever you want to refer to it as. I'm doing a couple today, so I'm actually going to be getting numbers for two different things. That's the one we're doing, the bold action. That's weird though, because I've got some of these I was going to do too, but they don't match. Huh. Well, I'm glad we're going to do this. So we're gonna, I need a 3/8 drill bit, and then we'll go from there, which I already have loaded up because it's what I thought I needed. So since it is a bolt action pen that is designed to look like a gun cartridge, which will, when assembled, there's your front and back pieces. And what I do is put that in the middle. This one assembles pretty quick. I'm really confused right now. We're just going to measure these up real quick and then get to it. 365, 366, 365, yeah. I don't have the right tube for the other one. Thank goodness we don't need it. Alright, so for this, I just finished cutting these blanks up a little bit ago. I did that off camera. I do cut. Since I've discovered I can buy a wood blank for $1 this size, or I can cut it up for less than that, I just started making my own out of anything that I have left over. And sometimes I will actually cut something a little short for another project, so I have a little bit of extra if I want a certain type of wood, or I might buy a little extra, whatever I need to do. I won't compromise it if it's ordered, but if it's just something I'm doing for a shop, which I normally don't use hardwood for, or something for the house, but I am gonna do 2 of these, so I'm gonna cut that open. Wow, I didn't realize that was a marker. I thought that was a pencil. Okay, is that what I think it? Oh, that's why I thought that. Okay, that's not what I thought that was when I grabbed it. So now we take a saw. I like my Portabands just because I can cut through things quicker. I do make these about a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch long. That way, when I go to square everything up, which is the next step after I glue these tubes in, I can not, I don't have to worry about, is it gonna square up nice and pretty, or am I gonna end up making the pen too short, which can actually cause them to not work right. So now we drill. And the spinning drill chuck is why I always hold the drill chuck. Only time I'll let go is when I'm pulling out, like you just saw, to turn the lathe off. And I just wiggle that to make sure it's in all the way. And we're going to go to the full depth of this drill bit. That smells, walnut smells beautiful. I am using walnut because this is it is a traditional wood that's used on some stocks for firearms. I only had the 2 kits today, so I need to order more. I can get them in brass, silver, gunmetal, and black. I don't really like the steel tip that was on the very end, but that's all I got. And when I bought them, I didn't realize that was, when they were in the bag, I didn't realize it. And by the time I caught it, it's like, well, I should have looked. People still buy them. Heck, I still have one I like, so it's just a minor aesthetic choice. So these are going to sit for about 5-10 minutes just to let them cool off so that the glue doesn't set instantly. So I will see you here in a few. If you see any more debris down there, I've got a bunch of pens I'm actually stocking up on right now. So yeah, we'll be back with you here in a little bit. We're back. It's actually been closer to an hour, but hey. So we got our 2 pieces. We got our super glue, our kicker, and as soon as I grab them, our brass tubes. Now all I do, some people would argue I should be wearing safety glove or some type of glove, but you do as many pens as I do in a night, and all they do is get stuck to a couple, and then you end up getting this stuff covered with your fingers on top of the glove being full of junk. And you can use a pen insertion tool. Stick that in there. And all the spray does is set the super glue almost instantly. What's down inside takes a bit longer to dry, but at that point I can work with this now. So that one off to the side. We'll do the next one because I don't feel like having this thing stick to another tube. I'm gonna use this in my non-standard use thing. And I also spin the tube while I'm sticking it in there just to make sure that glue gets smeared around all over. And usually with the last 1/4 inch or so, I can just, and that's a problem. Sometimes this happens. My glue started setting up a little too quick, and sometimes a wooden mallet is necessary. And I'm gonna try to get this off my lathe real quick before it sets up too much more. It definitely wasn't plan A, but not the worst thing that's ever happened. I will take a little sandpaper to this and let everything that I've got glued set for a little bit. And then the next cut will be to the next machine for the next process. For me, it'll probably be about 20-30 minutes. For you guys, it'll be a couple seconds. Okay, now we're gonna do the next step, which is getting these sanded off, everything squared up. This is already set to square. I double check it every time I start, which I already did off camera. So we're gonna fire her up, clean it off, and we're good to go. What you want to see is that bright, shiny brass tube, and then that side's done. Shiny brass tube again. So these two are ready to rock and roll. Now we're gonna go back to the lathe and set that up, get these turned, finished, and then we're gonna go in the house to put everything together. Okay, so now we come back to the lathe. We grab the next setup we need, which is right here. Make sure that's fully seated. Grab those. If I was smarter, I would have had my case closer. And we need the correct size of bushings, which should be right there. And I do have two sets, cool. So we are going to grab these guys, just so I don't drop them, I'm throwing them on there. Grab the other two. Eventually I want all my bushings in cases like this. They are not currently set up like that. And alright, setting a few things up for later. I just take these, stick those in the tube, pop that on, and it just goes in the tube like that, and like that. They should stay in there fairly tight. And you just lock this over. Turn this on. Crank it up to full speed. This is the way I wish it would sound. But once you're fully engaged, it sounds like that. Now it's just a matter of shaping them down. So what I'm doing is taking these at an angle to the bushing after getting them all rounded off, which I currently have, and then we sand it down, throw some finish on it, and we're done. Alright, so now we got this slowed down. It's a little rough right there, but we'll sand that out. And we're down from 3,500 down to, I'm going to take it down to about 1,200. I've buried my sanding discs. Alright. That's about 1,100, it's good enough. Now we're going to sand these off. Yeah. We started off with 160, now we're up to 120. We're going to work our way through a series of grits all the way to 3,000. The reason I stop and sand this way is just to help hide scratch marks with the grain of the wood. As we get up to the super fine grits, it actually doesn't matter as much from my experience. It does hide itself pretty well. You will actually be amazed at the difference you'll see once I put finish on from where we're at right now. I'm seeing some older scratch marks, so I'm using a fresh spot on it to really try to work some of them out right now. Alright, and we're a little over half done. We got 4 sanding pads left, and we're on the finish. Last three. Alright, now we're up to 2,000. Now I am probably going to be making this into a series before I finish this last sanding step, because pen turning is absolutely addictive. It's even more fun when you can make stuff to make people happy. So that said, if anybody's watching this and you actually want to see that into a series, let me know in the comments below. It would entail me actually going through all kinds of different pen types. Like I've got 3 more sitting just outside of the camera view. What is that? 4, 5, 6, 7 more up on a shelf over there. 1 behind me on the one side. I've got 2 different sizes of this. 3 different sizes of this actually. I've got different, I'm out of the one size, but I forgot I do have that. I also have 5 or 6 different types of pencils out here. There's all kinds of stuff I can get into. So if anybody's interested, let me know in the comments below, like I said. And this is our 3000 grit. This is the only one that I will not go with the grain, because this is so fine. It's a little bit rougher than a piece of paper. It's just a hair rougher than a piece of paper, although I did Old Habits Die Hard. It's not necessary, but I still do, because, you know, I get in a rhythm. Now we're going to take paper towel. I'll fold them up nice and small. I actually have a bunch of walnut I'm going to be doing, so otherwise I would try to do this with 1 paper towel for everything. We use my Pens Plus by Dr. Woodshops. Some of the absolute best, fastest, prettiest looking wood pen finish I've been able to find to date. So we're going to take a little bit, drip on there. That should be enough for both for the first layer. For the first one, just to try to help you guys be able to see this grain pop, I'm going to try to do it just like this. I don't know how well this will show up on camera now, but that is absolutely my favorite part of doing pens. The transition from the raw, sanded, beat up wood to the first layer of finish. After this, it'll just add a little bit of shine. This is an alcohol-based wax, so it'll go in. Alcohol flashes off in no time. It's actually already completely dry to the touch. It was dry before I went on this whole spiel. So now we are going to turn this up to about 648 RPM, which is the lowest speed on this setting, which is right there. I'm going to do 4 more coats if I count correctly. Probably more, because sometimes I forget to count, and I'd rather put a little extra on than not enough. Once we get done with that, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to grab this little bar. This is 100% pure beeswax. I do the top coat on there, and then I'll take and do a final high-speed pass through the whole thing, just probably 3 or 4 times across until I see that beeswax not moving too much, because then everything is set, it's hardened, it's worked in, it's good to go. Then we'll cut to doing the final assembly, which will again be in the house, and I've got, I think, about 10 or 12 pens out here I'm actually going to turn before we do that. So again, it's going to be a while for me. It'll be a quick transition for you guys. So here we go. There's one coat. For the record, this is all it takes time-wise for it to set up. There's 2. And all I'm doing is making sure this stuff really works in. The more contact you get with it, the better it works in from what I've found. Here's coat number 3. Coat number 4. And actually I am going to do everything with this one paper towel. I can do the rest with the others, it don't matter. And for the last one, number 5. Put that in there. Alright. So that's where we're at there. It looks nice and shiny, but I actually do not like the way it looks at this point. I think it's ugly. So for the last bit, I've got it back up to full speed at 3,500 RPM. Actually, 3,564 is the max spec. And now I'm going to take a dry part of this, work this finish in to set it, grab the thing of wax, put that on, set that, and we're cutting out of here. Alright. Lots of beeswax, and now we're going to work it in. Now we'll just do the last little bit of elbow grease just to make sure everything's even, level. And fumble. There is our 2 tubes ready to rock and roll for the next step of assembly, which I will see y'all here in a little bit. Put these away before I drop them, otherwise I totally will. Okay, so time for the last step, which is assembly. So, got my pen press. Wish I could get this thing to zoom out more, but it's not gonna let me, so for these particular pens, it's very simple. You just pop this in. A little lever I'm pulling to pull this down. Unfortunately, I can't zoom out enough to be able to let you see the whole thing. And you just pop that in the back. There's all that. And then this little silver bullet tip screws off. Make sure everything's off of there. Pop your spring on. And thread everything together. Sometimes initially they act up. This particular type, it does take a minute to get them to work right. If I had to guess, there we go. When you put the ink in there, you need this all the way back, and sometimes you need to spin it until it sets in there all the way. And then we put this back on, and hopefully okay, so we got all of our pieces parts. You just take your tube, start that into there, pop that into there, and then put everything up like that. This is the only pen that I can actually do this trick with. 9 times out of 10 it works. And then you just close up the press. And this is one reason why I don't make a lot of these. It's seized up and my little bolt action lever is broken loose. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to do some research into this to figure out how to fix these, because this is what happened to the first one too. There's something I'm forgetting. I just got to find a little screwdriver to fix. So yeah, I was hoping to have these done right now, and unfortunately it's not. Time to do more research. We'll show you the fix when we get it. Okay, so I forgot and got a little crazy. I'm gonna have to grab a screwdriver to tighten these back up on both of these. It's just a Phillips head screwdriver straight down in there. Super easy to fix. I'll do that off camera and these will actually be ready. I forget, it matters which end of the spring you put on these. You want the tight side on there, because what was happening is this was getting up into the tip and then bunching up and not letting it work right. So you just pop that in there, put everything else together like normal. Screw that on, and it works exactly the way it should have. And like I said, once I tighten this down, the floppiness is gone, and there you have it. 2 bolt action walnut core pens. I'm gonna fix these as soon as I hit stop on this, And these will be available at the storefront that I'm in right now. It's in Medina, Ohio. You can find it on my Facebook page. And yeah, other than that, like I said before, this might very well start to become a series, especially if I can get enough interest in it. And yeah, so let me know what y'all think in the comments about a potential series of how to make pens. I've got lots of different styles to work with. They're all a little different. So, yeah. Hope you all have a good day. Cat in the Hat and Dappy Dat.